extra time, waiting for the acolyte. I am gonna catch that fool. You will think I'm really cool. All I wanna do is impress you with my mouse trap. All I wanna do is convince you with my cheese. All I'll do is be the coolest cat here, but I'll need some more super brie. Just watch me, mouse. Just watch me catch you. Just watch me, mouse. Just watch me catch you, catch you, catch you. All I wanna do is impress you with my mouse trap. All I wanna do is convince you with my cheese. All I wanna do is be the coolest cat here, but I'll need some more super brie. Oh, but I need some more super brie. Oh, but I need some more super brie.
Hello, Mouse Hunt, and welcome to Feedback Friday. Today is January 15, 2021. First time I've been joining you on Feedback Friday this year, so Happy New Year, everybody. And thanks goes out to Jacob for doing Feedback Friday last week. I'm Dave. Hope everyone in the chat is doing well. Looks like we have about 80 hunters joining us. How's everybody doing today? Good morning. Hello, Lawrence, Strong, Claire. Scrib says yo. Yo back to you as well, Scrib. Hello. Bloodshot says hello. And Midst says good day, Dave. Happy New Year to you and the whole dev team. Thank you very much. Right back at you. Greetings here from the floating islands in UK. Okay, I didn't know that the islands there had ascended into the sky, but have your dirigible ready, I guess. And right off the bat, Chong says, so when is the Lunar New Year event going to start? Well, we can get into that a little bit. Maybe that's good to kind of kick things off, kind of let you know a few things, what to expect, what's coming in the game before we get into the birthday event, which that's kind of coming, not quite around the corner, but it's coming up. So the Lunar New Year event, we are just kind of putting some finishing touches on that, wrapping up everything there. But that'll come shortly after the start of February, so that's looking pretty good. And that event lasts for 2 weeks, if I recall correctly. And the next thing in line there would be our 13th birthday event, which actually we're looking to get a little bit of feedback today on Feedback Friday. We've been putting together kind of the proposals and the specs for it. And then after that, it will go into the spring egg hunt, which kind of marks the end of event season, which I think both we and the players have grown to call that time of year event season. Kicks off with Halloween, ends with the spring egg hunt. Bloodshot says, regarding Great Winter Hunt, is an oversight that milk and cookies are not exchangeable. No, ultimately we kind of wanted to avoid the, I don't know if awkward decision is the right way of putting it, but toward the end of the event, trying to decide, well, should I keep progressing and get the rewards out of these golems, or should I hold on to these and smash them into something else? So, no, that was intentional. 13th birthday, time flies. Yes, indeed. New mic. Yes, I did get a new mic a while ago. I figured that would do a little bit better than the internal microphone on my laptop as the CPU fan turns on. That's a bit of a running gag for a while. I'm sure you can probably still hear it ever so slightly, but at least the mic is not right next to my CPU fan, just losing its mind trying to encode video on a laptop. Bring on the egg puns. Yeah, we normally have no shortage of egg puns. All right, well, we'll get into, so the 13th birthday. So, I mean, touch base, because right off the bat I had a question about Lunar New Year, but you can expect Lunar New Year to be very similar to events in years past. There's a track. This year is Year of the Ox, so you can expect a new mouse, new base to collect, new artwork as well on the reward track as you go up a few little comically hidden ox here and there. I was about to say oxes, but I'm pretty sure the plural of ox is probably ox, if I had to guess. If not, then that's Oxford. No, that pun doesn't check out. All right, so the 13th, I said the 14th birthday, the 13th birthday event, MouseHunt is turning 13 on March 8, 2021. At least I'm pretty sure. Let me check my own profile. March 7, just kidding. March 7th is the game's anniversary. For some reason, I keep wanting to say 8. I don't know why. But that means for the third time now, the King is opening the doors to a secret Super Brie Plus factory where hunters are going to be able to go on a tour. Now, of course, revealing the location of where the most flavorful bait known to mousekind is manufactured is bound to attract a few mice, so they also need some help defending the factory while touring it. But we have been reviewing feedback that we collected last year from Feedback Fridays, Facebook page, Discord, forums, that sort of thing. We collected that last year. We kind of tucked away all those notes, and that was right ready for us to pull out and kind of review everything while we're putting together the 2021 version of that event. And so we kind of want to go over things as well, kind of see what tweaks and changes players would like to see, and a few ideas of how to address feedback from last year. Now, I will say right off the bat as well, kind of disclaimer, grain of salt, that the updates and the event are all still a work in progress. So, please do not treat this as an announcement of official changes. A lot can kind of change as we pull everything together, as we play test. So please think of this more like kind of brainstorming. We're looking to get impressions, get players' opinions, feedback on what tweaks and changes they'd like to see. The pump again, yes. So if you're not familiar, and actually maybe I should have grabbed a screenshot of the birthday event. So if you're not familiar with the last couple years of the birthday event, it takes place at a Super Brie Plus factory, and you collect Coggy Colby cheese, and there's also factory repair charms. And by hunting with that, you pump cheese through an assembly line, through a big old tube to fill a crate, a reward crate that's full of Super Brie. And then when it is fully pumped, you get to claim the reward crate. So the main reward for the event is Super Brie. It's a good chance to stock up on a little bit of Super Brie, taking part in the event. As well as last year, we added kind of other types of cheese as well that you could manufacture. So kind of try to stick to giving the event a very unique theme of it's all about earning cheese, primarily Super Brie, but also other cheese throughout other areas. So a few things here that kind of came up from feedback topics that we took note of last year was, one, the QA room felt a little underwhelming. I think the original iteration of it, the factory was producing brie, and as you upgraded your QA room, you'd get less and less brie and more Super Brie, until finally at full level QA room, you had all Super Brie. So we changed that up to be, you start with Super Brie, and then you slowly make more and more empowered Super Brie. However, what we're thinking there, and I think it was a player suggestion last year, was to, in addition to that effect, also have it extend the anniversary aura a little bit more as you upgrade the QA room. So, if empowered Super Brie isn't exactly your cup of tea or your slice of cheese, then it's providing an additional benefit as well. And it's worth noting as well, in previous versions of the event, every time you claim that reward crate at the end of the track, it was extending the anniversary aura by, I believe, 24 hours. So it might add a little bit extra to the end of that. I vote bring back cupcakes. Super Brie factory was a little bit boring, says Mouse. I think a stretch goal rewards could be better toward the end. Just pumping for Ultimate Charm Bait Keep was a bit mundane. Perhaps more stuff along the way would be cool, like Lunar New Year's along the flight path. That was another thing as well, looking for new items that you could cash out your Golden Punch tickets for. So we did have a note that players were looking for more things to spend those tickets on, but nothing too specific. Be funny mouse for 13th birthday. Yeah, superstitious. Yeah, that is true. The game is turning into a teenager. Uh-oh. Feels like the birthday is one of the weakest events now compared to Great Winter Hunt and Lunar New Year. Yeah, certainly those are very focused on rewards for areas, but kind of definitely don't want every single event to be this massive loot pinata to the effect to the point where there's not really much sense in playing the game unless it's one of these events going on, because they're double or triple the progress of normal. I know dates aren't your friend, but can you give us a hard date for Lunar New Year? I apologize, I cannot, because I do not know for sure. Will Anniversary Aura keep extending forever, or have a max Aura date like Winter Aura this time around? It did have a max duration last year as well, but that is actually one note that we also had in terms of tweaking the interface, was now most event auras have a maximum duration that they can be extended until, but the Anniversary Aura was missing that info. Most of them have it in a tooltip. And actually, the Anniversary Aura, its max duration is up until the next birthday event. So it has a 1 year duration, or 364 days, I guess. But we will be adding that to the tooltip of the Anniversary Aura, and that'll be consistent then with the Spooky Aura that you're in during Halloween. It'll let you know what the maximum duration is. That said, I think we hesitated. We didn't want to make it seem like it was a goal to reach for, because it's quite a lofty one. But just kind of theoretically speaking, that is the maximum aura that you could rack up. It's more kind of a safety net, so that somebody doesn't get 10 years of Anniversary Aura or something. Any chance we could see something bad happening to the factory, considering it's the 13th birthday? Terrifying Teens Mouse, something unlucky. Well, open to feedback as well, but we have been looking for ways to kind of help standardize the events a little more, to free up more time to work on episodic content, new adventures to the game, as well as just general game maintenance, kind of as the game goes on. Just like, if I could use the metaphor of a car, when you get a new car, you don't need a whole lot of maintenance at the start, although you should certainly take care of it as you go. But as a car ages, it needs more and more maintenance. And so now we're kind of in the conundrum where we have the same number of people maintaining something that also needs more maintenance. So we're kind of doing the best we can there by trying to think, well, maybe the events are something that can help us be able to work on bugs more often, quality of life improvements, kind of performance upgrades, stability, stuff like that. I remember the Terrible 2's mouse just like that. Now he's a teenager. Terrible 13's mouse, yeah. Generic Potato, not to be confused with a more elaborate potato, says, if there's one thing I would have loved to see changed, it's the accessibility to factory repair charms. We're returning factory repair charms option with Coggy Colby. Yeah, maybe. I mean, we aim to make everything obtainable without having to purchase the charm. So, it's definitely kind of a balance that we need to get right. Brian says, perhaps extend the party charm birthday trap bonuses to include the bases too. Birthday bases are some of the more popular event bases. Yeah, that also crossed our mind as well. So getting into another piece of feedback we had last year was looking for more ways to obtain party charms. And so that was kind of good to see that adding the different tiers and having them upgrade helped make them a little bit more useful, a little bit more compelling. Right now, we are thinking of adding that effect to the Anniversary Aura. So while you have the Aura active, not only can you get bonus loot that includes Super Brie, but also an occasional party charm. We're a little bit on the fence. We did discuss putting together a party-themed base that would work very similar to the New Year's bases that have a chance of having mice drop a charm. But we feel like the Aura, and it's interesting to see what players think here, the Aura might be a better fit because then you don't have to make the decision of putting away your prestige base, putting away your Minotaur base, whatever your best base is more wide open. You can go wherever you want. You feel like you're not sacrificing catch rate for the sake of a little bit of bonus loot. That said, sometimes it's nice to have the choice, and it's a permanent unlock that way. How about a charm that looks like a gift box and have a random possible charm? There is that already. I believe it's called the gift wrap charm. Jonathan says, mine expires February 15, just a little shy of Max, likely an avid mapper. Michelle says, we need a new car. Frischman says, I like having events that I basically know what's coming. Yeah, for sure. I kind of agree. They all don't need to be that way, but it is nice. Like Lunar New Year, I feel like a lot of the appeal is preparing for it. It's the anticipation is almost the most exciting part. Like many things in life, looking forward to something, I feel like is sometimes more fun than when you actually go and experience it. So it's kind of nice to know what's coming in that regard. Birthday airship cosmetics. That I think that is on the to-do list as well. I don't know for sure if we'll have time to get that in. Perhaps we can get the break room to provide a mix of party charms. So that's interesting as well to move on. We did explore that with the break room. Now, one thing we wanted to avoid is have unique loot drops outside of the parts in the various rooms of the factory. because if you could only collect party charms as loot drops while you're in the break room, but then if you're kind of well stocked, I think it was fuses you get in the break room, then you wouldn't be able to go and kind of even out your loot drops. There'd be kind of one room would be better than the others, and then doing maps and everything would feel a little bit awkward. But we've had other feedback about the break room. So last year, we expanded the event's rewards to include not just Super Brie, but also cheese from other areas, including other types of premium cheese. But one feedback we had was players looking for more autonomy in the type of cheese you would get. So last year, I think the addition that we did was, as you upgrade the break room, it would add another slot to the reward crate that you claim at the end of each cycle. And then it would go from kind of basic cheese to, I think we gave it flavor-based adjectives. I forget what it was now, like strong, pungent. I think one was called premium because you could get other kind of things like glowing Gruyere and other cheese from the premium shop in there. But you didn't really have a lot of autonomy or choice over what you were going to receive. So this year, what we're kind of mulling over or looking to put together is a kind of a vending machine. So as you upgrade the break room, a bigger and bigger vending machine shows up, and you earn more and more of these vending tokens from the reward crate at the end. And then you can use those tokens, take them over to the vending machine, which will be the cheese shop in the area, kind of reskinned to be a vending machine, pop your tokens in and decide, well, what kind of cheese do you want to fall out of the vending machine? And so we'll give you a lot more control over exactly what type of cheese you're looking to get out of as a reward from the event. Now that said, it would lose that sort of kind of, ebb and flow surprise jackpot moment in that you'd see your cheese, and obviously the more valuable, hard to get cheese would cost more tokens than something that's a little bit easier to acquire. And so it'd be a little bit more of a predictable path. And so, there's pros and cons there if it loses some of its element of surprise or the excitement of getting lucky twice in a row or something like that. I agree, Aura is better than another base to choose from, in my opinion, says Free Schmidt there. But the Aura tied to Gilded Birthday Scroll doesn't stack, and it doesn't stack feel bad. It does stack. Every time you open up the map, it will. Oh, okay, it's tied to the Golden Shield. Yeah, I hear it's almost a separate issue in regards to the Golden Shield, but I think the times have been synced up a little bit. So, I mean, if you did want to, you could wait and kind of more strategically open up chests. Swift says there's a 2021 base for that already. Yeah, that's another thing as well. It's kind of nice that that base has that unique identity of base to help you collect charms. And then, hey, if you have the aura and you have that base going, you're getting two types of charms. Unstable charm, outdrop charm, only not bait. That's interesting. Kind of an unstable cheese item, hey? In some sense, that's what the reward crate currently was, is that you'd claim it, and as you upgrade the break room, it's like that unstable item. You get a burst of cheese, and higher level break room, you unlock a final slot that typically has higher tier cheese. When you think when you're in an area and you need to collect items to craft into a cheese, to collect different items to craft into another tier of cheese, it was that sort of tier. How about if Birthday Aura increase bonus attraction rate also, like 10% bonus attraction? That's kind of interesting. That said, it does give Super Brie. It's a pretty good effect already, I think. The additional rare high cheese in the crates was great. I'd like to see a way of better control what cheese. I need a lot of diamond cheese. Yeah, so I mean, that's kind of what we're looking to put together by having this vending machine functionality, or the metaphor of a vending machine. You claim the crate, and as you upgrade the break room, you get more and more tokens, and those tokens you can take over to the vending machine, and you can pick out what cheese you're looking for. And obviously something like diamond cheese would cost more than something like moon cheese or something like that. So you have to save up a few more tokens, but as you upgrade your break room, you'll get better and better at collecting the vending tokens. Perhaps when we reach Dragon Year again for Lunar New Year, we can upgrade our Dragon base into a Dragon Chrome Jade base. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to kind of see where the sort of tiers of equipment lie, but a lot of the event bases are kind of capped in terms of how powerful they can be, and upgrading something limited edition is always a little bit awkward, so I don't think we do that too often. Oops, I meant upgrading the break room to have it add party charms into the crates. That's interesting as well. That's kind of a nice thematic fit. People are partying it up in the break room. That's basically like Ice Coin's event currency. I don't mind that, but just ensure there's no stockpiling happens. I think a little stockpiling would be okay because it would be very very succinct. But that is a fair point, and it would be a decision to make whether or not the vending currency would have to expire at the end of the event or not, or if it'd be something more like Advent chocolates, where that's kind of a currency item, but it's a little bit specialized. It's focused on what it's in, so there's not too much fear of missing out. If anything, there's kind of a tangible goal to achieve, so it might be a little different, being that you're purchasing consumables with the vending currency, whereas the Advent chocolates, you're primarily purchasing skins, and then there are some consumables, but there's this nice feeling of like, I did it, I got everything I need with my Advent chocolates, and I'm going to save the rest for later, or I'm going to save half, spend the other half on charms or something. That said, how about having a grid of rewards to pick from every time a crate is due, where you can pick one set of rewards? That might help with the rarity part of things. That was something else we were discussing. So instead of it just being straight cheese in the vending machine, and it'd be, the artwork load would be a little bit larger on it, but bags of snacks. So you can almost picture something like the marching flame snack mix, and you say, I want that from the vending machine, and it drops out, and you got to kick the vending machine because it got stuck. Oh no. Then you open up the bag of treats, and you're going to get something for an area you're kind of you're interested in, but you're not sure what's going to be in there. You open up your snack mix, and there's a few more pretzels than cheesies. It's like, oh well, I like pretzels, that's nice. Stretching that metaphor to the max, I think, there. Yeah, some a middle ground, because there's both pros and cons. When it's random, it can be kind of exciting to see what you're going to get. There's a lot more feelings of anticipation, but when it's kind of completely not random, then sometimes it starts to feel a little dull, like kind of a repetitive grind, because there's no kind of moment of excitement where something really different happens than what happened last time. Okay, after I hunt this many times, I know exactly what's going to happen for eternity. But sometimes it's tough to get that balance right. So there's definitely a lot of excitement. Even when you think about random loot drops, there's a lot of excitement when you can get something incredibly valuable, but it's rare. Versus, okay, here's something that is incredibly valuable, but you have to collect a currency item and then exchange a lot of it. And it's going to take you months to be able to obtain enough, versus kind of the months and months of trying to get it as a drop. And they both have pros and cons. But I think soon as players can calculate out, okay, here's something immensely rare, but it's very predictable. If you put in this much effort, you will get it. You map out ahead, and you're like, wait, hold on, I'm doing math, and I'm seeing how long this is going to take, and it's boring because you can see the exact journey. Whereas the journey is often the fun part more than the destination. So if there's nothing to reveal or discover in the journey along the way to the destination, then it's almost as though you don't get to experience the journey at all anymore. Screwbass, could the game support skins for bases? That's something else we've been kind of kicking around. I think we're a little hesitant to go down that road until we can kind of firm some other things up. And indeed, kind of sometimes adding some features to, as we celebrate the 13th birthday event, there is some things in the game that are 13 years old at this point. And so it's a little bit not too flexible, or not very flexible of how easily we can add functionality sometimes. Ben asks, I like to see the current function of the break room become the function of the QA room, and the break room go back to the cheese charm farm. I never bought any QA rooms last year. Yeah, for sure. That was kind of some of the feedback we had. It was a little lackluster. We're looking to have that push the anniversary aura. That said, last year the break room did add cheese, but party charms, that's another good option as well. Free Schmidt says, gotta love an extended vending machine metaphor. Yeah, it makes me hungry talking about it. Generic Potato says, wait, feedback Friday about the birthday event. Gotta go make sure my factory repair charms aren't stored on the marketplace and got swept away again. Uh-oh. Yay for pretzels. Something tells me I'm behind in the chat. That's a cool idea, kind of like the golems. Yeah, that's a good metaphor. Those kind of snack bags would be a little bit like a golem, but again, kind of cheese-based, keeping the Great Winter Hunt as that exciting loot pinata style event, but and that helps keep it special, and that gives it sort of something nice and extra rewarding. Perhaps revamp the description for party, spooky, and snowball charms to show the power bonus and set bonuses. Allow Rift set and Rift Stalker and Condemn base horror manor stats. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, like getting Temporal Shadowplate after 100 plus golems. And in some ways, even with those rare items, the marketplace kind of accounts. It kind of gets the best of both worlds in some way. There's that exciting highs and lows of a varied path. And I'll see kind of, it's tricky to get the balance right between creating those highs and lows without it being too extreme. But then as well, the marketplace. Every time you capture a mouse, you're earning gold, right? And that's kind of what your gold can do is, it is that item. It's, sand dollars in the sunken city are a way to purchase a predatory processor. But gold can function the exact same way if something's on the marketplace. As you hunt mice in that area, you collect gold, and then you can exchange your gold for the item eventually. So you know you'll get there eventually. Do a mix of both a surprise box and some that have set items. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It could be a little bit of everything. Do Gouda string release during the event? Nope. Do we have a date for Lunar New Year? Shortly at the beginning of February. Can we have a birthday minigame just like Spooky Shuffle or Snowball Showdown? Maybe every time we play the game, we can choose 4 presents out of 10. Yeah, that's neat. We might have to jot that down for next year. I do not think we'd have time to put together a whole minigame. Look like Dave is a Stormlight fan. I don't even know what that is. Jonathan says, main problem with rare random drops is the variance gets really high for very rare events. Yeah, there's definitely kind of a middle ground to find there where versus, common, uncommon, rare, ultra, super, mega rare. Do we have birthday event first, then Lunar New Year? No, Lunar New Year will be in February, and the birthday event is in March. Do we have a date for Lunar New Year? February, early February. This game turns most players into statisticians, says Meitst. I've done more math playing this game of the year since leaving school. Old math teachers, thank you. Well, there you go. If you students thinking, when am I ever going to use this in the real world? Maybe you'll use it playing a game. I know, I forget what I was even doing, but I used the Pythagoras theorem for some reason. I was like, look, I did have to use it. But even in school, some of it isn't so much about learning practical things that you're going to use later in life. You're learning to learn. You're expanding your realm of knowledge, and so that if you can learn one thing, that's going to help you learn other similar things. So, if you are in school and you ever get discouraged thinking, well, I'm never going to need to use this, but it's making you smarter, so you're going to be able to learn things that you actually do need to use in life. And just fade to black, and a star will shoot over my head and say, the more you know, I guess. There's a little PSA. Any sneak peek on rewards for the birthday event? So the primary reward is the cheese you're earning from the factory. That said, we're adding a new cake base. Now, it's not going to be a great game, changing base if you have something like the Prestige or even the Minotaur. But a new delicious-looking cake base to sink your teeth into. Party charms as well are kind of an auxiliary reward. They're the anniversary aura, is something you can earn during the Super Brie Plus Factory event. Trying to think what else there is. The Queso Pump trap is not limited edition, and we're planning on having that return with each birthday event, at least for the foreseeable future. Journal theme as well. There are the previous various birthday-themed journals, as well as the last year's, I think we had 2 different factory-themed ones, if I recall correctly, and there'll be a new one this year as well to earn and collect. Will Valentine's mice put in appearance during Lunar New Year? Yes, there will be a little Valentine's phase during Lunar New Year, similar to last year. A need for a minigame pipe swap game, similar to Bioshock hacking sections. I don't think I've played that. I have played this might be a little bit older because I think it was on the original NES, but I think it was called Pipe Dream, where you only had so many pipe pieces and you had to kind of twist them and make a route for kind of some slime to get from point A to point B. No changes to Lunar New Year, I presume. I don't want to misspeak, but I'm going to say no. Let me jog my memory quickly here. And make sure I'm in the right account. Scroll through the old. Yeah, looking very similar to last year's. Just, some new things to earn, but how you're earning them is very, very similar to last year. But yeah, there's not too much to go over in terms of Lunar New Year. If you participated in Lunar New Year last year, or even the year before, I'd say, you can expect something incredibly similar. Will we have mega birthday tournaments? Has the tournament issues been solved? Have you learned lots from the Great Winter Hunt tournament issues? It's still kind of being investigated, so no guarantees whether there will be tournaments or not. Basically, we're at a point where the whole thing needs to be redone from scratch potentially, but we're still trying to evaluate that best we can. But we also have quite a few other maintenance tasks in the queue that are a little bit ahead of that. So yeah, it's a unfortunate case of lots to do and not enough time to do it all. Yeah, Pipe Dream is great. Maybe I got the name right then. I have fond memories of it. I remember, like so often, you don't remember specifics, but for whatever reason, our brains like to remember how things made us feel. And I can remember having fun, but I have no idea how the game worked anymore. Wish we could have a Lunar New Year kit that only had regular dumpling and normal candles. Yeah, and red candles are pricey. Don't offer a ton more than. Yeah, that's an interesting suggestion as well. You can get those items just on their own as well. They're still available. And my laptop has slid way down my desk. My plans to prop it up are not going too well. Had a couple other birthday items as well here to kind of run by, make sure we get feedback on as well. One is the final shutdown crate. So that was a suggestion from last year and kind of made a lot of sense, and I think we'll have be able to kind of pull that off functionality-wise, is when the event goes into shutdown mode, allow people to pump one more crate. So, there's a few hunters and they were just, 5 hunts away from finishing the assembly line to be able to claim one more Super Brie crate. And so be able to pump one more before the pump shut down. So whether you're kind of right at the start of it or right at the end of it, one more crate to claim. That seemed like that should be fairly straightforward. As well as obtaining birthday trap skins. So the primary way that you were finding birthday trap skins were from the treasure maps. And you'd find one random skin in the treasure map. I think they both were 100%. I can't quite remember at this juncture, but yeah, but you'd get a random one. So that led to a lot of kind of duplicates. A lot of people kind of getting skins even after you had them all. They just kind of kept piling up in your inventory. So what kind of similar ways to how the Valor Rift skins work, where you can get some pieces of a skin pattern and then go spend those at the shop to obtain one of the birthday skins that allow you to kind of pick which skin you're interested in getting. We can add some new ones that way. Again, kind of similar nod to how Advent chocolates worked in the Great Winter Hunt as well. You'd get, every time you do a map, you'd get an Advent chocolate or two, and you could use those to pick up the skin that you're looking for from the Trapsmith. And I think we already touched base on this, but the last thing I had a note on was feedback for other items you'd like to see be able to purchase for punched golden tickets. And so in previous versions of the event, every time you reach the end of it, and actually off the top of my head now, I can't remember whether Vincent dropped it or it was in the reward crate. I'm pretty sure Vincent dropped the ticket. So you'd capture Vincent. They are the last mouse that you capture along the path to the reward crate. I believe Vincent dropped the ticket, and then you could claim the reward crate thereafter. And there were, unique things for that year you could buy with the punch tickets. There was also, I believe, Bait Keep and Ultimate Charms, and then crates of very powerful charms. So you'd have a crate of Birthday Ultimate Lucky Power Charms, Birthday Ultimate Power Charms, and Birthday Ultimate Luck Charms. Why not cupcakes to spend in the shop for skins to harken back to the old birthday events? Yeah, maybe. Might be a fun theme for it. A rare super gilded birthday map scroll would be a nice random drop. There are gilded birthday map scrolls already as well. I think one other thing we're looking to do is add a few gilded coins to those chests as well. I think that was feedback from last year, just kind of a little inconsistency or a little confusion about the regular gilded maps and then the birthday gilded maps. So the only 2 times a year you can get something or a map that is themed gilded, and the one had gilded coins and the other one didn't because it had birthday stuff in there. But might just kind of upgrade those in general to also have some gilded coins. How about letting us buy an extra reward crate with a ticket? We've been floating that around as well, or something to provide the golden shield. So whether that was a small pack of Super Brie with a shield, kind of like something you'd get from the King's Arms, or literally just an item and you can click it and it extends your shield a bit. And help tie into the event of kind of the birthday events about all about kind of Super Brie and being able to kind of earn things along that line. And definitely Super Brie and the Golden Shield are themed very tightly together, as it's kind of the thank you for supporting the game by purchasing Super Brie. It comes along with the Golden Shield. Snowy says, any option for turbo pump or something similar to calling the bell in the winter hunt? Nothing planned, no. Kind of like an instant click a button and the whole pump fills, but I don't know if it quite has the same. The nice part about bells in the golem format there is if you have way too many golem parts, you can smash them into bells to have the golems come back right away, and it empowers you to use up those parts. So I don't know. I suppose the only way to make something similar at the Super Brie factory would be if you had way too much Colby cheese or way too much factory charms, but that doesn't really work because they're also available. You can purchase those with real world money, so you would just go infinitely fast by spending money, which would be a little bit crazy. So it would have to be something that you'd otherwise collect. Actually, I guess a more fair item for that would be the actual factory parts themselves. You know, like if you had 100 of each of the factory parts, you can make some mega cog, click go, and it just completes the whole line. That could work. I mean, maybe rare map dust, something quite valuable but not overpower. That's another interesting suggestion. Especially because there's other things as well. So if that's not, you know, if you don't do a whole lot of maps, there'd be other things to pick from. Are there any plans to add more old skin packs like Halloween had for Lunar New Year? No, I mean, in generally, not a lot of people picked up those skin packs, and I think ultimately they were not very popular because you'd rather just pick the skins that you want, right? So if you buy a pack and you'd get doubles, and very few people would ever even be interested in those when we offered them. A platinum cog, yes, something like the Omni cog. When all our parts combine, we create Omni cog. Any ideas on what you will focus on after event season? Definitely kind of some quality of life bug fixes, a lot of maintenance to do, as well as a few releases that we have kind of simmering on the stove there. Nid there asks, any plans to give everyone 10,000 sandblasted metal by mistake in a Larry link? Yeah, stay tuned for 2 minutes after the stream ends, and I will broadcast that link. Any plans for a Platinum AA? I'm going to assume you mean the Absolute Acolyte. Not at the moment, no. Want a Rewind Charm. That's actually a good thing to take note of as well. Just as last year, the Adventure will reward 10 Hunter's Horn Rewind Charms. So those were originally introduced with the time traveling event for the 10th birthday. And they've made a return each birthday, but in a smaller quantity. Only 10 per year, whereas the initial time travel event, you could get, I think, 100. But they are quite the potent little charms, so definitely probably keeping those limited to 10 a year. Will there be standalone Valentine's maps like last year or combined map with Lunar New Year mice since they overlap this year? Actually, that's a good question. We have been putting together a Lunar New Year map. It's a little different. The format of the event is stockpiles. So in some ways, if you're collecting cheese, if you're in that phase of the event, then, you know, a map will be a nice little boost, and I think it's going to reward cheese as well. So it kind of boosts your resource collection phase a little bit. But then if you're in the candle phase, if you're off getting double, triple loot drops, then you may actually just want to look at doing regular maps, right? Because you won't be encountering the event mice, and so that synergizes well. Whether you are in the floating islands and you're getting double ore and glass drops, then maybe pick up a Sky Pirate map. Or you're going through the labyrinth and you're, going to use your lantern when you reach the Minotaur, then you could be doing a labyrinth map and cross the Minotaur off the list at the same time. I've still not used my rewind charms. Yep, they do fall into the category of of too good can't use in some regards, but definitely there's a few creative uses of them here and there. What if we went back in time and got more? Well, unfortunately, hunters fixed the fabric of time during the 10th birthday event. I think that removed the opportunity to be able to go back and get some more of those. So I guess we should have let the mice win. Very handy for Halloween. Yeah, the Golem event as well, I think, is a great time to use those if you have a little stockpile of them. Just because it's the type of event that snowballs quickly, if you'll forgive the pun. So the faster you get some golems going, kind of the quicker you get off this. So it's important to kind of get out of the starting gate as quickly as you can when it comes to golems. So they can help you get a few golems returned quicker than usual. Now that Valentine's mice are in an extra hunt, how about making Valentine's lucky charms actually make the bonus hunts, or more likely that you'll encounter one on a bonus hunt? That's kind of interesting as well, to give them a little bit of a use during the event as well, without kind of getting in the way of gameplay. Brian says only 2 charms he doesn't touch: the rewind charms and the first ever charms. But I think that was all the birthday items, so kind of had a slew of varying comments and feedback, but of varying, nothing too outstanding that it looks like in terms of a few of the things that we've been looking at already. GS says, plans after all 12 costume Zodiac mice are included. Will there be new ones? Too soon to say, so I don't know. John says, I burned all my rewind charms on Iceberg General Cycling for my bronze crown for Dr. Eller. It's the only occasion I really wanted to rewind on and miss lots of times. Yep. That mouse is not the most fun to be chasing down, I will admit. B. To asks, any rough idea when the next area release will be? Nope. John says, I have an athletic lunar map from 7 years ago. Can't wait to finally do it with the new tournament hall. That's true. You could finally finish that one off now. You could start it even before the event started. Aberrant Alexandrian asks, will there be a chance maybe on the 20th anniversary? Find some wood to knock on here. All right, there we go. For a hunter to claim or trade for an LE trap they missed in the past. No, I mean, obviously a bit of a polarizing issue, but limited edition means just that. Never coming back. And we've said that enough times that I would not want to reverse course and likely upset some people. So if we were to do it again, would we approach limited edition in the same way? Maybe, maybe not. But that's how that works in the game. If you miss limited edition, it is never coming back. Make the first ever charms available in the marketplace. I think they might be limited edition, if I'm not mistaken. And there's not too many. I feel like that might be a good trivia question. Is I feel like at once upon a time, maybe a limited edition item made it into the marketplace as an oversight. But in general, they're not tradable. I collect tactical traps, that's why. Well, you'll have to collect all the non-limited edition tactical traps. Ryan says, actually, last year, the V-Day bonus hunt didn't overlap with Lunar New Year, so I might just want to do a check that doesn't consume candles if the events overlap. Yeah, fair enough. That's right, actually. We had to do 2 separate kind of occurrences because Lunar New Year was extremely early last year, if I recall. I mean, not that it can be early or late. It is exactly when it's supposed to be. But in terms of lining up with Valentine's Day, it was way in front of Valentine's on the calendar that year. Limbomber says, any plans of giving some other function to meteorite core fragments, maybe a way to convert them to something useful, poke them some other loot? Yeah, potentially, maybe, maybe not. Hindsight, Fulmina probably shouldn't even drop them to begin with. But I think that's something that it's a kind of a larger conversation that's not just even isolated to one specific item. So I don't know, maybe one day we'll have just the right idea of how to consume a few items that... or put some older items to good use, but for now, not a focus. Any update progress on the Valor Rift treasure map project? Actually, that is a little loose end I'm going to tie up right at the end of the day. So after Feedback Friday, Have a meeting in the afternoon, and then I'm shifting gears back to Valor Rift treasure maps, and probably once I kind of be able to run the proof of concept by the team and maybe a few playtesters, I'll be looking to get some more feedback as well on those. The exact direction to take them in, I think at a minimum, a regular run-of-the-mill map, just as you'd expect, but it probably won't reward sigils or secrets. But we're experimenting with a more unique style that almost combines a regular map where you're looking for mice with a scavenger hunt where you're also finding items. So it might be something like, hey, capture the bulwark and loot, not on the same hunt, but capture a bulwark, and then as another objective, find, I don't know, champion fire as loot or something, a loot drop that inside the tower or elixir. As well as combined with certain feats as you go up the tower. So almost a little proof of concept of a different style of map where something like capture 3 mice in a row while inside Valor Rift and a clue drops when that happens. Or something like, I don't know, that's the thing, we need to brainstorm various feats and accomplishments that you would be looking to achieve to progress the map. And just because the way Valor Rift is set up, it's not very well set up for kind of divide and conquer teamwork cooperation on a map. It's very, very straightforward. Kind of once you're high up in the tower, you basically can do map after map after map. Annual terms 2019 are not classified as limited edition, I think because we kept them on the marketplace. Living Base is kind of LE coming back, maybe something similar for those who missed Desert Heater Base. Potentially. I think a lot of times, too, those limited edition items are nice little trial runs of maybe something that we could find a good spot for in the game. That certainly happened with the Hothouse base becoming the Living Base. I know the Ultimate Iceberg base as well has been a popular suggestion, so that's kind of nice as well when we are refreshing areas or we're working on an update. It's a good kind of idea that's chilling out in the idea bank. Oh boy, the scrapping machine idea comes to mind here. Garbage Island, for some reason, I think there's a pitch for Garbage Island where you take items from your inventory you don't need and you could throw them into Garbage Island and compost them into other things. Of course, the problem being, if you convert those items into another item, eventually that new item will also need a tier 2 Garbage Island. So kind of you need the just right idea. I mean, I'm not a fan of doing something for the sake of doing it. Kind of wait till you find that idea that just makes perfect sense, where there's no question marks, there's no uncertainty. It's like, yes, that's just right. Ryan says, did I just hear Valor Rift treasure map? And Eileen as well, maps, and she perks up. For sure, put together a kind of, as you'd expect, a regular old map where you just capture mice from that group while you go through Valor Rift, and it has kind of relatively modest rewards because that map is incredibly fast to go through. It doesn't take a long time once you get set up. And then something a little bit more challenging that could have better rewards and maybe also gated behind having to complete the adventure as well. So if you're going to be earning sigils and secrets, you still need to go and get those original upgrades yourself before you can kind of start getting them from maps. Yeah, Jonathan there with a suggestion. The Ultimate Iceberg base could be earned by capturing deep mice. Yeah, potentially. It's a little anticlimactic, though, because that would make the penultimate reward for mastering the iceberg something that makes you better at the iceberg. You're like, I'm sick of the iceberg now. So I don't know. I might opt to put it, if we did something like that, I think we would want to put it a little bit lower on in the sort of your adventure while you go through the iceberg. Even just obtaining all the bases and then that one little extra thing to combine them all into one. And then you could go and have fun to use that to go achieve something like a King's Crown on the Deep Mouse. Rather than when you're exhausted and just sick of the iceberg, the reward is something that says, here's something to help you in the iceberg. I don't know. Sundra asks, Valor Rift has been out for a while, maybe missed timing now with a lot of hunters have moved on to the floating islands. Still quite the popular area. That's what those mice do appear on other maps as well. So if you're just working on regular gilded, or not regular, sorry, the regular relic hunter maps, caught up on my errors. Compost into King's Credits would be neat, yeah. Although, again, King's Credits, that's another thing that kind of needs a little bit of a refresher as well, so they're not always useful. Yeah, wasn't there an idea to give mirror the Ultimate Iceberg base to the Deep Mouse? Not that I recall. Can we have a VR update for Valor Rift? Task you up with it. And then when are we getting a Rift version of Garbage Island? Oh dear, we're getting way ahead of ourselves here. Dallas says, I'd be curious to see if maps with multiples of the same mouse would work. Get Terrified Adventure times 3, Bulwark times 3. Yeah, that could be interesting as well. It's not quite set up to be able to for us to accomplish that easily, but it's kind of a step in the right direction looking at these sort of feats. When can we get Gouda string cheese? It'll be a while. Jeron asks, I think there could be 2 maps of the Valor Rift. One is easy and one uses the mice you caught, and a second one that has every mice in the pool. Yeah, that's kind of what we're going for. Something along the lines of Queso Geyser, where there's a more simple map and a more expansive one. That one's a little better at making it interesting because it covers multiple areas, multiple cheese types. There's a lot more cooperative divide and conquer. Like, hey, you go to the plains, I'll go to the quarry, you go to the geyser. Whereas Valor Rift kind of, even just soloing them is kind of trivial once you're high up in the tower. I guess you'd probably need a duo because there'd probably be a mouse outside the tower. So I would kind of encourage you to at least start or finish a run. Ben says leeching maps is a thing, so even if the map was gated behind the adventure, people would leech and skip through the area. Yeah, but you'd have to kind of go through at least the initial journey, so it kind of preserves some of that journey along the way. But yeah, in the similar vein, how in Fort Rocks, there's not too many alternative ways to obtain Howlite and Bloodstone. But at that point, then, yeah, you're getting sigils. You're either finishing off some of your final upgrades, or you're exchanging them for charms and other cash outs. Will Femina drop Queso Canyon loot eventually? No, that's not an area where she was interested in adding collectibles to her hordes of treasure. So her drop table is what it is. There's already technically a Rift version of the Toxic Spill. Yeah, actually, that's fair. It's kind of grouped into a phase within the Burrows Rift. So a lot of the rifts are region-based, not area-based, and the Toxic Spill is in the Burrows region. And there are even Toxic Spill-themed mice in the Burrows Rift. So, but it's not Garbage Island, though. I don't think we'll see a Garbage Island anyway. Are there plans to introduce animated mice? I don't believe so. That would be an entirely new game. I think we would have to develop with significantly more resources, I think. Animation of a trap catching a mouse. You know, again, there's so many permutations and just the game kind of being the medium what it is and kind of that kind of little niche little simple web game. And so, you know, it would introduce a lot of things like lengthy load times and stuff as well. So kind of knowing some of the charms of the game, I think what a lot of players like about it is you can load it up, sound the horn, and you're out of there. It doesn't. You can play it while you go about your daily life, even just here. You know, while I'm working, just have it open in a tab and click it every once in a while. Whereas having to kind of launch a big client, using up some system resources, or even every time you load the game, you got to wait for a loading animation libraries and all that. Probably not going to happen. Will a Dragon Slayer cannon level of difficulty in obtaining be introduced in other trap types? I can't say I can predict the future to know. Is it time for Quar? Can you make it based on Valor Rift, a VR Quar? VR Quar. Just about, I think, actually. And I hope I'm right here. So I didn't even look up the answer to this question. I was just confident that I have it correct. But like so many times when I'm confident, I have the incorrect answer. Will the Clockwork base receive a buff? Just started Rifts, and even with the Fracture base, it doesn't seem worth it. Well, that's your choice if you don't want to go for it, but it has been chilling out in the idea bank to give it a little bit of a niche effect. That said, it's not going to, I don't think it would be some earth-shattering, amazing thing, so it'd probably be a little situational, if anything. So, by all means, that's your decision as a hunter to decide which goals to set for yourself and which equipment to pursue. And so, by all means, if it's not something you're interested in, if you want to kind of strategize and go for something else first, then go for it. No frowny face required. Gia says, Mouse Hunt 2. We are actually on Mouse Hunt 3. The next would be Mouse Hunt 4 if we did. 21, 45, 98. It's not even a numerical answer. Dave, are you 100% correct on the easy-to-use, low resources tag-along game? Oh, you are 100% correct, yeah. Well, that's good. Over the years, I mean, that's kind of sentiment we've always gotten from players of trying to understand what makes the game fun, what makes it appealing, and sort of understanding the audience as that the game has as well, and not trying to make something that's going to stop appealing to people who've been playing it for years. And so it's a balancing act between trying new things, innovating, keeping things fresh and exciting, but without kind of losing sight of where you came from, and kind of what made the game has made the game so popular for 13 years. And so, if you try to make something that appeals to everyone, you often end up making something that appeals to no one. And so trying to, through Feedback Friday, forums, support, all that, getting a sense of kind of keeping our minds on kind of the pulse and the thoughts of the players as well, to make sure that we kind of stay true to that identity while also trying to make things new and fresh at the same time. But it's a challenge. All right, we will go to the Quar. I didn't update this slide. So this is last week's question, or actually last month's question. It's been a while. So this was not this week's question. Let's clear that. I'm going to get a new Quar going. It's not a VR Quar. I'm sorry, Nid. Nid with the correct answer for December's trivia question. It was the free skiing mouse. It seemed that he got that quick. I don't know how. It was like the answer was up or something. All right, I got the question pasted in. Got to get the answer ready here. And last but not least, the reward, the R. Who put the R in the Quar? She-Quar. All right. Test the link as well. I'm pretty sure I clicked it yesterday, actually, so we're going to hope for the best. No, I didn't. Okay, cool. So this week's trivia question is, which birthday event mice are the 3 blind mice? Larry the friendly knight. Larry the unfriendly knight. Uh-oh. He's not even Larry the evil knight. He's just unfriendly. It's not that bad, He doesn't harm anyone. He doesn't, have any evil plans. It's just, he's not a very friendly guy. Like, you give him something, he doesn't say thank you. Like, come on. Glitchpaw, no. The birthday 3. Nid comes in with a solid guess. Someone's getting close. I think Brian maybe has it there with the blindfolded, pintail, and the busket. No, I can't accept that. Then Ryan comes in to correct Brian with the bucket head, pintail, and sleepwalker. I think you are the first to get the answer correct. It is indeed the bucket head, pintail, and sleepwalker mouse, unless I'm way off base and I'm mistaken. But those are the 3 blind mice. I believe those were introduced on MouseHunt's 3rd birthday. The theme of the event was 3 blind mice. And the bucket head has a bucket over his head, so that mouse isn't seeing anything. The pintail mouse also is blindfolded because they're playing a game of pin the tail on the donkey or pin the tail on the mouse. I'm not quite sure what game would be played there. But that blindfold also takes away its sight. And the sleepwalker mouse has a sleep mask on, so also not being able to see where it goes. Brian has beat me to it. I'll double down for good measure. There are 2 reward links in the chat as well for your ease of clicking enjoyment. Pin the donkey on the tail. The lesser played game of pin the donkey on the tail. She says, I don't see the necessity of buying the energy induction base to get through the Valor Rift quest book. Well, it's a piece of equipment that you have to prove that you have mastered it before the king will reward you for doing that adventure. So, much like hunters before you, it's a goal to strive for, or a goal you could ignore if you're not interested in it. And that's kind of, you can play, definitely MouseHunt's a game, you can play it the way you want. You have plenty of room to set different goals for yourself. Wow, Dave, 10,000 Sandblast Amelia just for you. I put in a check if your name is Nid. And if your name was Zapsky, you got 10 Sandblast Amelia. There's a lot of effort had to go into making that link work differently for different people. That was a weird choice. Terrible Teens Mouse. That's kind of a cute character. We will be adding one more mouse to the Super Brie Factory event. It'll have to be a pumping rune mouse, trying to kind of slowly even out the mice in the different rooms. And the pumping mouse is a little short on mice, so that'll mean it'll be probably some sort of time travel themed or pump themed. As the other mice in there are all time themed from the 10th birthday, because the pump room, it accelerates how fast the pump goes. So it seemed like they might know a thing or two about gotta go fast. Yeah, Scrib, MouseHunt is a teenager now. That's why it gets difficult sometimes. Like that's probably it's pre-teenager years. That was probably the tournament problems, I'm going to say. $10 sandblasted metal to upgrade the nanny bot. A solid suggestion. Getting his first job. Do you get your first job at 13? I think I started working at 14. I don't know when you can start working, but I feel like I got my first job at 14. But maybe you can start working at 13. I don't know. It probably varies from country to country, I would imagine. Will there be any regional with parental weakness? No. Nib says, that was a Tim Hortons cashier. I think, I don't even know what the right term for it is. Like floor porter, it was called a sweeper. So you'd walk through the tourist area of Niagara Falls and you'd be sweeping up trash, primarily cigarette butts, but there'd be other assorted litter to be swept up, taking out garbages and stuff. Ken says, on the topic of what makes the game fun, I always liked the new mice that were based on recent events. We never got an orange baby mouse, for instance. So I don't know. We have to be kind of careful about exactly what theme we would pick. Often games are a respite from reality, and so sometimes, now and then, but not always is it nice when it's a reminder of things in the real world. Sometimes it's a nice escape from reality, at least temporarily, to help you de-stress and then go back to life and deal with the more stressful things in life. Any plans on new trap power types? Probably one day, but no immediate plans. And as we approach the noon mark, we've done the quar. We've reviewed the birthday feedback. So by all means, I'm going to post a summary on the tavern section of the forums, where we can post additional feedback and keep kind of helping us mold and shape the birthday event. We're going to be starting to put that together next week, and over the next 3 weeks or so, we'll kind of be firming everything up. So, by all means, keep the feedback and the suggestions coming. Jordan says, one of the reasons I enjoy this game is definitely the art and the amount of feedback that you guys give to your fan base. Absolutely great to hear. If we ever did have kind of a complete overhaul of the game, it would be nice to put the art at a little bit more at the forefront. The journal system is both dragging its feet from a technical perspective as well as a visual perspective. That these great looking mice, and in your journal though you have to click it, but you see this little tiny thumbnail instead of the great actual full size image of the artwork, or at least the entire character being in view would certainly be nice. All right, we'll wrap things up, hunters. So thank you for joining me. Quite the turnout today. I think we had a couple hundred people stop by. We have 168 at the moment. So as I said, I'm going to post a summary, keep the feedback on the birthday event coming. I'm going to be keeping, I don't know what the term is, I'm going to keep my ear to the ground. Yeah, I think that's a term. I'll keep my ear to the ground of the forums and Facebook feedback, Facebook Feedback Friday, the Feedback Friday summaries, to help kind of mold the birthday event over the next few weeks. So thanks for joining me. Have a great weekend, or if you're watching this recorded and the weekend is in the past, I hope you had a great weekend, and I hope whatever moment in time is about to come out ahead of you there is also going well. So happy hunting. Thanks for joining me, hunters, and either Jacob or myself will see you next week. Let me look at a calendar. If it's Jacob next week, it might be Jacob for 2 weeks because I'm also busy that next Friday. So we'll see. We don't know what the future of Feedback Friday has in store for you in the short term, but somebody will be here to hang out, and thanks for hanging out with me. See you next time.
you're a trap. Don't seem to mind it. You attract me. I'm a mouse, you're a cat. I don't seem to mind it. Soft and furry. Oh, and just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Just when you think you're safe, snap. I come back. You don't seem to mind it, but I'm a fool. Broke my back. You don't seem to mind it, 'cause you're so cool. And just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Ooh. And just when you think you're safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe.